Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Interstellar, starring Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Jessica Chastain, Bill Irwin, Ellen Burstyn, and Michael Caine, and directed by Christopher Nolan. Now, before I get into this, I saw this a couple of days earlier, before its actual release date, on an IMAX print in film. And I was really excited to see it in film in IMAX that I just thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a look at, and I'm going to, well, I'll make that announcement at the end of the show, but let's get into it, shall we? The ghost or poltergeist they keep bringing up at the beginning, and they'll bring it up again at the end of the movie, makes me predict the ending, which I'll get to at the end of the show. And I feel like 2001 A Space Odyssey is a big reference of this movie, as well as M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. I feel like mixing those two movies in a blender, as well as Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and even though I never seen that film personally, but I heard it's good, put them in the blender, and I'm thinking it is this movie altogether. I'll bet you Christopher Nolan did that on purpose, and I've seen him saying 2001 A Space Odyssey and Star Wars were his references making this movie. But there's more 2001 A Space Odyssey and Signs than Star Wars, in my opinion. The parent-teacher conference scene with David Oyelowo, who I just recently saw him in Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That scene makes me think Cooper, played by Matthew McConaughey, is such a terrible parent because his daughter Murph gets into trouble with other students, like bringing his old textbooks about how they went into space, and this has got to be a terrible school, in my opinion. And they have a corrected version where NASA didn't go into space in history, and Cooper takes her to a baseball game after she gets in trouble is a cop out of a scene. Just terrible. Another Rise of the Planet of the Apes actor, John Lithgow, plays Cooper's father-in-law, and I thought, is this his reuniting with David Oyelowo, even though they weren't in any scenes together, but in a Christopher Nolan movie? And Mackenzie Foy as young Murph does a good job being the daughter of Matthew McConaughey's Cooper, and she doesn't get as pissy as she will be when we get to Jessica Chastain, but she still gets a little pissy by the end of her screen time. I'll be seeing Mackenzie again next week with The Conjuring, just keep in mind, folks. Michael Caine's character, Dr. Brand, with his daughter Amelia, played by Anne Hathaway, as well as Wes Bentley's character Doyle, and Tars, voiced by Bill Irwin, who's a robot, and some other guy, I don't really know his name off the top of my head, are recruiting Cooper on a mission with NASA after Cooper and Murph found some dust with gravity, which was a weird scene because they find dust on the ground, as well as books is going to be on the ground. And it's going to be a bad twist at the end of the film as well. Murph gets pissy with Cooper because he's going to space and the black hole because she's afraid that she'll never see her father ever again. Is a poor excuse for her to be pissed off, even when she becomes Jessica Chastain. Get over it, girlie. When you watch this movie on Blu-ray, like I did, my second round at least, you'll get the best IMAX shot scenes like it was in those Dark Knight films, and also when you see it in the movie theater for the first time. It looks great, by the way, because I love the IMAX thing, and I'll talk about that at the end of the show, like I said. The water planet, where the water is like a freaking mountain, was like an uh-oh kind of scene because the planet looks completely dangerous. When Cooper sees his son Tom, now played by Casey Affleck, who is an Oscar winner for Manchester by the Sea, and Murph, played by Jessica Chastain, is probably a good acted scene because he was very happy to see his kids grown up. Was very an affecting scene with heart. Michael Caine's Dr. Brand character is lying to everyone in their face about going to space is just a terrible reveal for the movie. Just terrible. When they go to a snowy mountain and wake up Dr. Mann, who is played by Matt Damon, or as I'm going to do this, once Matt Damon, who is a traitor of NASA and is a weak character for a Christopher Nolan film. I can barely hear the dialogue in this movie because this music is louder than the dialogue in the movie. The twist where Cooper is the ghost or poltergeist that we saw in the beginning was very predictable based on the beginning of the movie, where she said, "I thought you were my ghost." That was telegraphed at that point. It was more of an M. Night thing than a Christopher Nolan film. The score was a very piano and instrumental in a very good way, but I can't even hear everything they're saying at the same time. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 7.2 out of 10. This movie was good, but they need to improve on the dialogue versus the sound. Kind of like what they did with Dark Knight Rises, so we can hear both dialogue being louder than the score, but it was still a good movie and good acting, but they still need to improve that part. So next week, or let's get to my announcement first before I get to the next show of Dunkirk. Now, I'm gonna be about a week or two late because I'm gonna see it quite a few times, a couple of times in 70mm film and a couple of times in, digital film. That's right. And I'll be back to talk to you about it till then. And until next time, see you later.